Today, we're talking about how focusing on your flaws reinforces the problem and what to do instead. If your bookshelf is lined with self help titles, recovery guides, or mindfulness workbooks, and you still feel like you're fighting the exact same exhausting battles every single day, I want to tell you something you might need to hear today. It's not your fault. In fact, the very books and resources trying to save you might be the exact things keeping you stuck in place. For decades, the standard advice for healing, recovery, and personal growth has been to look backward. We're told to deep dive into the muck of our struggles. We go to meetings where we have to introduce ourselves by our labels. We read books that force us to hyperanalyze our triggers, log our failures, and keep a constant hypervigilant watch over our flaws. But as a clinician and as someone who sat in those rooms for a very long time, I noticed a dangerous psychological loop. What we focus on, we reinforce. I'm going to say that again. What we focus on, we reinforce. Deep down, our minds operate on a pretty simple rule. We will always make choices that match how we see ourselves. It's like an invisible internal thermostat. If your subconscious identity is firmly set to, I'm a binge eater trying to diet, or I'm an alcoholic trying to stay dry, or I'm just an anxious person trying to calm down, your brain will eventually force your actions to match that identity. Every time a resource makes you rehearse your pain, it inadvertently cements that negative label as who you are. You end up using every ounce of your willpower to fight against yourself. And let's be honest, willpower always runs out. To break the cycle, we have to flip the entire script. We have to stop practicing the problem and start teaching our brains where we actually want to go. You can think of it like the classic, slightly cliche career advice I'm sure you've heard. Dress for the job you want, not the job you have. So, if you want a new life, you have to start mentally dressing for the identity you want to inhabit. You have to allow yourself to step into the version of you who is already free, even if it's just for 5 minutes at a time. I learned this the hard way after battling a severe eating disorder for almost 40 years. 40 years. I read every book, followed every rule, and often felt more trapped. Ironically, my turning point didn't come from a clinical text about eating disorders. It didn't come from a college course. It came from a book that had absolutely nothing to do with food. The author invited us to do a simple creative exercise. Write out my ideal day in vivid, hyper specific detail. But this was the key, the final prompt. Include exactly how each of these choices will make you feel. So, for the first time in my life, I stopped analyzing my habits or start staring at my shame. Instead, I took 5 minutes writing about how the fabric of a beautiful outfit would feel against my skin. I wrote about the vibrant, clean energy I'd feel after eating a nourishing meal, rather than the crushing guilt of stuffing a gas station pastry into my mouth while driving and then driving around for 20 minutes trying to figure out how to hide the evidence. It wasn't a draining exercise, it was energizing. It was actually fun. It bypassed my shame filter entirely because I wasn't fighting with my past self. I was actually flirting with my future self. That 5 minute creative script taught my nervous system what peace actually felt like. It forced my brain to try on a brand new identity for size. It took time, but once my subconscious realized how good that new identity felt, my daily choices just naturally began to follow. If you're completely exhausted from trying to fix yourself, please hear me. You are not broken. You've just been trapped in a system that forces you to keep practicing your pain. You don't need another workbook telling you what's wrong with you. You need permission to lay that heavy armor down. So take a break from the self-help shelf today. Say that 5 times fast. Give yourself just 5 minutes tonight to close your eyes and sketch out a single beautiful moment of the life you actually want to live. Focus on the sensory details, focus on the feeling. Let's stop talking about the muck. It's time to start writing your next chapter. So before we go, I want to leave you with this week's permission slip. Permission to start releasing that old identity. You can find a digital copy of that ticket and all the links in the show notes. And if this message resonated with you, please head over to my Substack and subscribe to get more content just like this straight to your inbox. And then finally, a couple of pages from my journal, a peek inside my world this week. On the author front, I'm officially in countdown mode, putting the final touches on everything for the Sun, Sand, and Stories Book and Vendor Fair, which is happening on Sunday, July 19th. So if you happen to be around Webster, Mass., please come and say hi and visit my table. The event is completely free. It runs from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. and it's happening at the Mill at the French River on 9 Frederick Street in Webster, Mass. There will be a bunch of local authors, craft vendors, live music, and a food trailer. It's going to be a beautiful summer day, and I would absolutely love to meet you in person. And on the home front, if you caught last week's note, you know that I've been on a covert mission to sneakily replace my dog Owen's favorite, but utterly disgusting blue ball. Well, the replacement package arrived and it turned out to be bright red. So, needless to say, my master plan failed immediately. Owen was not fooled. The old blue ball remains securely in rotation, and now we just have 2 giant dog toys taking over the living room. I'm Melissa Ann Palmer, and remember, your voice is the most authentic thing you own. I'll see you next time.